Here you see a typical punch of a young fighter just forcing his, using his strength to just crush his way through on his opponent. And that's the typical stuff he's doing tonight is punches like this here. Using his youth and his strength.
Well, by CompuBox count, he has more than doubled Tarver in the power punches landed category. 107 for Dawson, 51. And as you saw from the earlier graphic, Dawson's output has gone up here from the first fight. Tarver's has shrunk considerably. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, 7 rounds to 2. 88, 83, bad Chad Dawson. Jim, I gotta tell you, in rounds 8 and 9, if Antonio Tarver would have landed half the punches that he missed, he probably would have knocked out Chad Dawson. I mean, if defense is 25% of scoring, you gotta give Chad Dawson credit because he slipped a million punches. He really gets under a lot of Antonio Tarver's shots. In the meantime, he's doing a lot more damage with that right jab, constantly getting off first, backing a guy up, throwing 2, 3, 4 at a time, just like you saw there, and overall outworking him. 7 to 2, Dawson.
You know, Dawson said he wouldn't want to fight Glenn Johnson in a rematch unless he absolutely had to. Tip of the cap to Glenn Koff Johnson, who is, as I mentioned, one of the best, least appreciated fighters in boxing. He credits Dawson does, with preparing him to fight Antonio Tarver. And that might be the most logical opponent in the near future for Chad Dawson, a rematch with Glenn Johnson. See if there has been improvement there against an aggressive fighter like Johnson.
You have to strap on your work boots to fight Glenn Johnson. It's never going to be easy.
And his approach is not essentially defensively oriented as Tarver's frequently is. Even though Tarver is throwing his hands here, he still plays a lot of defense.
Don't let him back into the fight. Keep the jab up.
Harold Letterman's right on the nose. Chad Dawson does an excellent job, particularly in the last 3 rounds, of hiding from Antonio Tarver's punches. He's there, somewhat in plain sight, but Tarver has trouble finding him when he releases, and there's a good right hook by Dawson. Five-punch combination by Dawson. 4 to the body and 1 upstairs. Tarver gets in a jab.
20 seconds, Ted.
All right, your hands free, guys. Punch, get out. Punch, get out. There you go.
Let's go, Antonio. Finish strong. Finish strong. Finish strong.
Been a couple of rounds now since Antonio Tarver landed a threatening left hand, and more it appears that's what it would take to put him back into the fight.
You're giving rounds away. You're giving rounds away. You ain't touching me, but you're not throwing, you're not firing back. You're making them miss, but you're not making them pay. All right? You're making them miss, you make them pay. All right? Take a drink. Come on, baby. Come on, champ. Let's go to work, baby. Come on, man.
Step it up. You got to knock him out, okay?
Antonio, we need these next 2 rounds. We need them big.
Make these 2 rounds.
Okay, we don't need a knockout, but we need these next 2 rounds.
Make them happen.
6 minutes.
You know you ain't shape.
Thanks, buddy.
6
No problem.
minutes of pressure, baby.
Nice deep breath.
We got to knock this guy. Let your hands go.
Give me this. Give me
Yeah,
this.
I ain't seen you go to the body yet. Okay.
Okay, lay down. Lean your head down. Lean your head down 1 second. Okay, listen to me. Stop looking for the one shot. We need combination. We need these next 2 rounds, Antonio.
The crowd in the joint at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Not the cafe. Cafe's next door.
From the way their corners sounded, it sounded like Chad Dawson's corner, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, wants more of Dawson, wants to see Dawson win these rounds by wider margins so that there's no ambiguity when it comes to the scorecards where it looks like this is heading. And it sounds like Buddy McGirt, he said we don't need a knockout, but maybe he doesn't want Antonio to try to force it, just win the rounds, and maybe a knockout will come.
I think both cornermen gave their fighters good advice. I think Eddie Mustafa was right on the money when he told Dawson, you're making him miss, but you're not making him pay. So You know, and he's not missing all those punches. I thought that Tarver landed a decent amount of right jabs the last round. You know, even though Dawson may be getting wrapped up in defense, it's still you don't score points off of defense.
Now, Dawson may be thinking of the difficulties he has had finishing fights. Slowing in the last 3 rounds against Adamek, against Glenn Johnson notably, and even in the last 2 rounds against Tarver last fall. And it seemed as though he consciously limited his punch count in the 9th and 10th rounds to save something for the finish. And Eddie Mustafa Muhammad just wants him to go fight. Quit thinking so much. Tarver. They've been few and far between in these last couple of rounds.
I think he's been landing the last 2 rounds. Tarver's been landing a lot of jabs. His jabs don't create that excitement because, you know, the limber type guy doesn't have that stiffness, but he still has been landing a lot of jabs these last 2 rounds.
A round like this is what I meant by when I said Dawson's not always consistent and has these kind of moments in fights that make his grade something less than an A.
Well, and particularly toward the end of fights. As much as anything, this appears to be his Achilles heel. A tendency to slow down in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. Seems to happen in him out of his lethargy.
He's loading up on power shots, but overall still, just if you want to just pure punches landed, Tarver's won this round. Unless he can knock Tarver down.
I'm not so sure. The right hook that Dawson landed a moment ago was much bigger than any other punch that Tarver has landed in the round. Tarver believes it. He throws his arm skyward.
If I was judging, I would give it to Tarver.
Take a deep breath.
Nice deep breath. Put your legs out. Stretch your legs out.
Take a deep breath.
Okay, champ. Champ, you need this round.
We need it bad, T.
We need this round.
It'll come out. Let your hands go, all right? Chin down. Don't get careless. Let your hands go. That's where you got to go. All right? Both hands. All right? I need this round.
Don't look for the knockout. Score the points. You got it. Combinations. You'll catch him in the blend. Now look, he's looking for the uppercut. Give me that hook.
Look at his round. Okay, let's go to work. Last round, finish strong. I need this round. I need this round.
The Hard Rock of Las Vegas.
CompuBox numbers in the 11th round. CompuBox saw Dawson landing 23 out of 70 and Tarver 19 out of 89. Entering the final round, CompuBox sees Dawson with a 193 to 107 landed punches edge. Harold Letterman agreed with Emmanuel Stewart and gave the 11th round to Tarver. But I believe that's only the 3rd round that Tarver has won on Harold's card.
I agree. Not the same year. I give him only about 3 rounds. I think he's been a good competitive fight, and I think Dawson's won the fight.
If he goes through the 12th round. He was downed in the 12th by Adamek. Got up and went on to win the fight.
A knockdown by Tarver here would make the scoring interesting.
It's a good point, Max.
Dawson knocked Tarver down in the 12th round of their first fight.
A knockdown by Dawson would make the scoring less interesting, I think.
Let him up. Come on.
And looking for improvement in Dawson. I mean, you know, maybe he is what he is. He's 26 years old now. He's been world class for a while. And maybe he's a B-plus fighter in a C division.
Yeah, I think Tarver's fighting a good fight tonight, though. I think he's fighting a pretty good. Tarver just maybe a little bit more than he expected. as I said earlier, you know, he's going to have to fight a better fight, you know, because Tarver's going to come in and fight a much more determined fight. And I just think Tarver's just a little bit better tonight than he may not look at it impressive the way he does things, but still, he's not the easiest guy to fight.
Well, what's the significance of that, Emmanuel? I mean, Tarver's going to lose this fight. It's probably the last time that we see him at this level. This is about how good Dawson is. Are you saying that Dawson deserves more compliments because Tarver has fought really well?
No, he's fought good, but still, there's things missing in Dawson right now. The one thing, he's going to stick to his jab. He's led his last 2 rounds. Everything has been just loading up on power punches.
Question is, do you see an X factor in Dawson, which tells you that he would be a real threat to be Joe Calzaghe or Bernard Hopkins if he could get a fight against one of those two guys?
He's young and athletic, and that usually bothers older fighters. But if you are a B-plus fighter in the C division, you can have a nice career. You just might not be a star unless another young fighter can come and distinguish himself in the same division, and you can get a rivalry going. At 168 pounds, there's Carl Frosch, who, should Dawson and Frosch make a fight in the next year or so, be a very interesting matchup, and I think hardcore boxing fans would be interested.
How about the painfully slow progress of former Olympic gold medal winner Andre Ward?
Absolutely.
Still wondering if Andre Ward will ever become a marquee figure in the sport.
Meanwhile, it looks like Dawson just won the rematch. It seems to me by about the same margin that he won the first fight. Considering Tarver fought a little better, maybe it's a little more impressive. But I think we know what we have in Chad Dawson. A very good fighter in his physical prime.
It's going to come down to skill, will, nuts, and guts, baby. Why you sweating?
Harold Letterman has it 116 to 112. That wild hunch that's going to be a popular number. And he gave Tarver the 11th and 12th rounds both. The 3 official judges will score it. Alan Davis of Canada, 2 title fights, no notable fights. If we knew who he was, we would tell you so. Dwayne Ford of Nevada, well-known veteran of the sport, had Manny Pacquiao beating Juan Manuel Marquez by 3 points in their second fight. That's a wider margin than most ringsiders would have given Pacquiao in that victory. Patricia Jarman, 69 title fights, one of 5 out of 6 judges who had Jermaine Taylor beating Bernard Hopkins in their first 2 fights, or their 2 fights here in Las Vegas. Now let's go to Michael Buffer to find out who won this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds here at the Hard Rock Casino Hotel Resort of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Alan Davis scores about 116 to 112. Dwayne Ford, 117 to 111. Patricia Marsh-Jarman, 117 to 111. All to the winner by unanimous decision. Still undefeated and still IBF, IBO Light Heavyweight Champion of the world, Bad Chad Dawson.
So all 3 judges see Dawson winning either 8 or 9 of the 12 rounds in the fight. And here